We go. What you want? Which one you want?
What are you doing?
Now, you had said you was wanting to drink with absolutely no chaser. So I know when you trying to drink, I know what we doing next. So what you want?
No.
Let's get it. What you want, baby?
That's not what I said. What I said was we're partnering with Black with No Chaser, and we'll be joining the Black with No Chaser radio show. Yeah. Yep. You heard right, my listeners. Chasen and I are excited to announce that you'll be able to hear season 1 of My Last Nerve on Black with No Chaser Radio. And season 2 kicks off February the 5th, and will be airing on Black with No Chaser Radio as well as all other podcast platforms. So that's what we're doing.
Is we drinking or what? Cause I'm ready now. I ain't ready. Where you going? Where you going?
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Cirilo, and of course, I'm here with my sister SIKA, and this is back for another episode of the Black Lunch Break. Today, we got brother Chukes in the building, man. Chukes is a brother from Southern California, man, with a lifelong dedication to building for our people, man, through his art form. He's a sculptor, but what I believe is he's a man of the people, a man of the community, and I'm appreciative, and we're appreciative of this brother coming on and sharing some time about his new catalog of work called Identity Theft. I was gonna say like the paradox of the blackface with the black skin with the fist in the air, but like doing a I guess a juxtaposition type of deal with using Statue of Liberty and then putting elements of freedom in there and almost like the idea of Black power in a statue that's really meant everything but liberty and freedom for Black people. I thought it was a powerful piece, and I was like, man, I wonder if I can get a replica in my crib, but I guess since we started, the first question goes to you, and all the questions thereafter. And so the first question is what does Black with No Chaser? When you hear the words Black with No Chaser, what does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, once again, thank you for having me on the program. It's always a joy to have this opportunity to speak to a worldwide audience about the creative mind of the Black arts. So thank you. And your name was when Taru told me about the name, it was intriguing. So the first thing that came to me was like straight with no chaser. And I think that's what they, how they make a drink or something like that. I don't drink, but I just remember hearing that name in the movie so many times, and so I'm like, I wonder how they came up with this name right here, So, for me, Black with No Chasers is like, hey, I'm going to be who I am, do my thing, and you're going to have to catch up to me, you're going to have to catch up to me. So I just put it in terms of, I'm Black, I'm not chasing you, but you don't have to chase me. You're going to have to catch up to where I'm at, That's the way I see it.
So, I don't think we've had that type of response before. And I actually like how he just broke that down. Like, you're checking me, but I'm not checking you. Like, I like that. That's a wonderful answer.
Shooks, I was reading your bio and everything before we jumped on. And one thing that jumped out to me, I think anybody does art, somebody that's familiar with art. I took AP art. Art has been a big part of my life, and I think it's more of a spiritual connection to our ancestors and where we came from. Even if we don't necessarily recognize it in the beginning, it is a connection to all of our experiences lived, and I feel like, and even in some parts spiritually, right, on that we've been here before in some regard. And so I saw that like my name means lordly or being of noble descent, and I saw that you mentioned that in your bio, and I felt that I don't want to take the thunder away from you, but for the folks out there, what does your name mean, and why does that mean so much to you to have found out what your name meant?
Well, I live in Southern California, so everybody thinks I came up with that name. They think it just sounds cool, and I came up with it. And so when I tell them, hey, Chukes is my real name, it's my last name, it's the indigenous name that my people from Nigeria, gave to me. So it wasn't, I always knew that the name Chukes was different. It was unlike any other name I had ever heard growing up. But it wasn't until I started to look into what my name was that I found out the importance of it. But that happened as a result of me showing back in 1984 at an art show in Northern California. And a brother from Senegal came up to me, and he was admiring my work. And I guess he was looking for me. And so when he found me, he says, I think the first question he asked me, he said he liked my work, but he said the first question he asked me was, do you know where your last name came from? And I told him a little bit about it. And he says, no, your name is Nigerian. It's from the Obu tribe, He says, it means most high, man of God. It's like it's the Uru bird that flies around and sees everything. And just sat down and we talked for, a while. And he just broke down my whole name and my whole ancestry. And it just blew my mind. And it changed me forever, knowing that I no longer had to be subjected to having my name tied to a slave, an enslaved master, a master that enslaved us. That it was my true original indigenous name. And it gave me such power just knowing that.
That's interesting. I just want to share really quick. I changed my name when I got married to Solo, which is a South African last name. And I've had a lot of Africans ask me, do you know what your name means? And of course I did the research before I decided to change my name to that. But I think it's a lot of power in the name. And a lot of times we miss the mark when we think that a name is just a title. It's a lot more history to the names, especially when you take the move to remove your colonized name, because my colonized name was Smith. And that's exactly why I changed it, because I didn't want to hold a slaveholder's last name. And I think it's a lot of power, and we as a Black community need to do more research and understanding our histories with names that we are carrying, because it means a lot. And like you said, once he had that conversation with you, it changed your life. I can honestly say changing my last name to my ancestry connection has definitely placed a different type of power in me versus the original name that I was given.
I think that's beautiful. Right on. Yeah. And absolutely. I mean, we all need to look into who we are. I mean, stop being proud of the people that ripped us from our continent and changed our complete identity, gave us, their name, their way of thinking, their education. We need to go back and start touching the bases that brought civilization to the world, and understand that we are the people that brought civilization to this world. And once we start believing in that, or re-believing in that, then that will give us the power and the strength to start understanding who we truly are. Because we've been whitewashed so long by these lies that history has told us about what we haven't done when we've done it all. And they've tried to change that around and put the white or the European in our places when we're the ones that taught them
everything.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because you and I'm glad you brought that up about who was the first and the first civilized continent and countries. It all stems back from Africa, and we know that. But I think a lot of people out there, even some of my folk, don't know that. Even as I was watching this TikTok video yesterday about a white high school AP teacher teaching about the enslaving of Black people, what the N-word means, and literally watering down and whitewashing history. And the mystification of our people is real. And I think that we need to have more of these conversations with our young folk. That's why I appreciate it even in the beginning of identity theft. And for folks out there that's going to be watching this, identity theft is a catalog of Chukes' work, of sculptures that he's done in the past. And in the intro, You mentioned Timbuktu and how the first university was derived there. And I think it's important to note that because so many people believe that European or Westernized culture is responsible for education, and then we dig back into ancient Egyptians, and I think a lot of folks try to make it seem like Egyptian culture is not even part of African culture. Is a weird thing that tries to happen there, and I think that's also part of the whitewashing aspect of history. And then the greatest thing ever invented by humans might have been the pencil, the ability to erase history and to rewrite it and to contort it in a way that seems fit for your narrative. And so, yeah. So really quickly, right? The piece behind you, statute of limitations, and we know statute of limitations, man, is a beautiful thing, but it can cut both ways. And I feel like, Black folks have been on the cutting side. Or the brunt of the harm of statute of limitations. So I want to talk a little bit about that piece because one of my favorite pieces in there, because as somebody with the law school, understanding what that means in just a term of legal sense, I want to get your thoughts on like the statute of limitations, some of the energy around or inspiration around that piece.
Well, that piece, I mean, when you look at the Statue of Liberty, I mean, it's an awesome piece of art. You know, it was gifted to America by an incredible European or French artist. I'm not going to say his name. I mean, I think it's something that people need to look up and see for themselves. They need to research the name themselves. But this man was a staunch abolitionist, and it was gifted to America right after supposedly enslavement was over, and it was supposed to be of a black female, and America claimed that they had gotten past slavery. So they did not accept the gift. They had him change the gift around. But I won't go into all of this stuff here because the statute of limitation is a representation of the lies that they've told you. So it's just a metaphor for all of our history. To that, the fact that we're saying that our history, like you said, the pencil has been erased and rewritten. So for what I'm saying with the statute of limitations, if you look into what's really going on with the history of that particular piece and how it got to America and who created it and why it was here, you're not going to really find out a whole lot of information. You're going to have to really dig real deep to uncover the truth about that piece. And that's why I say it's a metaphor, because that's the way our history is. In order for you to find the truth, you can't just Google it. You're going to have to look, you're going to have to pick up a book, and you're going to have to go to a library, and you're going to have to really do some research to find out what really happened and what's really going on, because that's our problem right now. We think we know one aspect of history, and we don't look at the whole spectrum of what history is about. So for the statute of limitations, what I'm saying is it's not too late to know your history. It's not too late. Don't let the statute of limitations run out. Don't let people put limitations on who you are and what you should know about your history. It's very important that you look deeper and deeper and deeper and find out the truth about what's happening. And once you do that, go back and teach it. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with those people that need to know about who they really are.
Another reoccurring message, go back and teach it. That part is very, very important because we don't know how many people are behind us watching what we're doing. And that's why it's important for us to go and find this information. This shirt that you have on, Till Death We Do Art. Let's talk about that.
Oh, that's my wife. She buys all my, she knows I'm a shirt fanatic. My wife is my heart and soul. She's responsible for me being who I am. Believe me, she is. She is. I mean it. Us men, we sometimes we don't want to give our spouses credit, but I have no problem giving my wife the credit that she deserves, because this artist does not create without my wife's support. And for all of us, we need that support in our life. We truly do, and we need to appreciate it and recognize it. My wife she's an incredible woman. She's a librarian, a corporate librarian, and she just finds these things and says, so I'll go inside of my closet and grab something out of there, and lo and behold, this is one of the shirts she bought me. She just knows who I am. She
Yeah.
knows what I'm about, you know. And so it sure was very poignant because it is. I live for art and I'll die for art. I will. I mean, because it's my legacy. This is how I want to be remembered. A lot of us, we have a legacy, and then when we're no longer on this planet, you know, you get tired of hearing just about the bad things people have done. I want to hear about the good things we've done, about how we've nurtured other people, brought them up, brought something beautiful to the world. That's what identity theft is. It's about bringing something beautiful to the world, teaching them. I mean, there's a lot of hardship in identity theft, but it's till death we do art. I mean, it's poignant, but it's about who I am.
That's interesting because, you know, I just got finished watching the, you know, I think many people at this point have seen the documentary about Fred Hampton and how he was assassinated and how was that was a federal, you know, sanctioned violent act or set of violent acts against one of the, you know, I would say one of the prominent leaders in the Black community in the 60s, if not the, like, one of the leaders. So, you know, it's funny because if you watch the movie, there's a point in that movie where he's just getting out of Menard. Menard is the prison, I believe, that he was in at the time. And he was talking to the crowd and everybody's chanting, you know, Chairman Hampton, Chairman Hampton, Chairman Hampton. And but part of that in that speech, he said, you know, I live for the people and I'm gonna die for the people. And I think that, you know, when I heard you say that just now, I immediately thought about those words because it's like, and when I saw your shirt, I was like, damn, that's some like kind of give me feels around the Fred Hampton speech.
Yes, the boldness.
And it's like, you know, if you live for something, then you should be willing to die for something. And I think that's important because that shows the passion that you have for the craft. And it's not just about like doing the artwork, right? It really is a way of life. And I think that many people who sign up for things don't realize and don't really understand the true why. And I think for you and what I see in your work is you found out your why. And I think the really cool part is, this is what I think a lot of folk end up doing, especially our people, because we're not exposed at a young age to certain things. And the fact that you taught yourself how to become a sculptor after, you know, going through school and realizing that, you know, hey man, like I'm still kind of like not finding my way. I still don't really see myself in the world. I still don't. I haven't found out my why. I think that's just one of the dope parts about your journey. And but I guess my question to you is like through that journey though, right? Through that journey, what have been some of the lessons you've learned that you can kind of share with young folk about finding yourself along the way? Because this is a lifelong journey. So what would you tell folk?
That what I create, that I'm only the vessel. I don't take credit for this. I don't. I mean, I think it's the most arrogant, selfish thing that an artist can do is say that I did this because you didn't. I mean, you alluded earlier to our ancestors. And for me, many of our ancestors, I mean, we were the creators. I mean, we were the creators of civilization. Look what we've created. I mean, that never went away. It went away for a short period in time when we for my peoples, when we became enslaved. That was stripped from us. But our creativity was never stripped from us. It was never stripped from us. So our ancestors gave us that creativity. So for those that did not get that opportunity to create during that time of enslavement or impoverishment, you know, or any of the negativities that went along with us, is like an energy. I mean, we live in a vacuum. You know, our earth, you know, I mean, outside of it is a vacuum. So energy does not go away. It stays in that vacuum. So there are people that sometimes have a great talent and maybe they're not receptive to it, or they just haven't got the information to realize that what they have is important. So that energy for them is like, it's not for you. It goes to the person that is receptive to it. Fortunately, I was receptive to it. And there's a path that you have to go along, and there's a straight and narrow path, and you can veer off that path. And the voices of my ancestors and those who did not get the opportunity to create are the ones that have pushed me on that path. So that's why I say you cannot be selfish with this. You have to realize that there are so many people out there that are in your corner, people you don't even know that are in your corner. But it's up to you to believe in yourself and be disciplined enough and have the passion enough to follow it through. You must listen to your own voice. No one else on this earth breathes for you but you. And you must believe that. It's the belief that allowed me to continue to create the way I created. But my mother, when I think about my mother, I mean, she's the one that saw in me what I was going to be before I even became an artist. My mother would call me Michelangelo before I even knew who Michelangelo was. She just knew with all of her sons what we all were going to be. And do you know, to this day, we are all what we chose to become in life, me and my brothers. So that's an incredible journey we've had, so I don't take credit for it, but I give credit due for the people that have helped me along my way, even the ones that aren't even here, and the negative ones too. There's so much negativity about people telling you what you can't do. That's the biggest fight you have to go through. You have to, it's not, my thing was to prove to them that they were wrong, but more or less prove to me that I was right, that I could do this. And so your negativity was probably the most powerful energy that I probably had, because that's what kept me motivated, was just to prove a point to myself that I can do this, regardless of what you say. And then I had to ask, why did you do this? Why? And then after a while, I just said, it doesn't make any difference. I am who I am. So thank you. Thank you for all your negative comments and whatever, and trying to stop me from reaching my dream, because you didn't do it. You didn't. You allowed me to become who I am. And now I could go back and teach and get rid of that negativity. I can use that energy, all of it now, to teach.
I think that's so beautiful that you can see it in that way. Like you said, energy is like a vacuum. So you're transferring the energy in the right direction for sure. And as far as your catalog, it's super extensive. So I'm sure you have an emotional connection to several pieces. Which piece? Well, I'm pretty sure you can't choose one. So how many pieces are you super emotionally attached to?
Well, there's one piece in particular that I think says it all for me, and that's Portrait of a Nigga. I mean, that's the piece that, let me tell you about identity theft. I mean, this work, this body of work is the most spiritual work that I've ever created. And everything I do is spiritual. Everything I do. I mean, it just comes as a result of dreams. Actually, I got up early this morning, went outside to my studio, and I was in my robe, and I had to pull myself away because I lost track of time. And I'm in my robe, and I had to rush back in the house and put some clothes on to do the interview, because it was 9:30. I went outside, it was like 7:00, and I had no idea what time it was. And then something told me, says, get up off of here and go back in here, get something to eat, put some clothes on, and do the interview. It's just, art is just, everything around me is just geared towards my creativity and how I can share that to the world. And identity theft is something that it has to be shared with the world, because the way it came to me in a dream sequence. Each night I would go to bed, I would have these visions. Like the painting behind me is a message of hope. And right when I drifted off to sleep, that vision came to me. And the next morning I painted the piece. And I don't really paint a lot, but I like painting. But going back to a Portrait of a Nigga, it's like, we glamorize that word too much. And then we have become too accustomed to it. And then, you have this whole political correctness, which I think is a bunch of garbage, because that's only a design to make other people comfortable with something that we didn't invent the word nigga.
That's right.
Someone else did. We didn't invent that word.
James Baldwin said, I didn't invent nigga. You did.
Yeah, that's right. Right. The white race invented that word, and it was such a derogatory word. And now we want to say that we've changed that word now, and it's okay to say my nigga, this, that, and the other. Basically, I don't use that word. I just don't. I don't even like calling it a word. I use it in terms. I'm not going to say the N word. I'm gonna say what it is. It's nigga. Portrait of a nigga. So when I put an empty frame in there, that makes people think, what is a nigga? You know, what is it? You know, really, when you look at that frame and you see nothing in there, that's what you're saying to yourself, that you're nothing. You know, I mean, I said in that piece, I said, I didn't come from the planet nigga. There's no planet nigga named nigga out there. There's no city, no state, no street, no country, you know? So I took it even further. I said, okay, well, if there's not that then, and you want to call each other nigga, then name your child nigga and see how far your child could go in this world. You know, play your nigga card. Change your name to nigga, you know? See how far you can take that word. And it's not until we get rid of that word nigga, till black people stop calling themselves that, take that word out of the entire vocabulary, that's when we will become a race of people again.
That's deep. That's deep.
Is.
Like I ain't gonna lie, man. To be real,
That's a perspective I've never looked at.
I struggle with it's so like a part of the culture, if you will, and like you grow up, and that's just how people relate to one another. One of my good friends out here in DC, he's we went to like FAMU together. He's a Masonic brother of mine, and he been stopped using the word nigga a long time ago. And then like he won't tell anybody don't use the word, but he'll be like, don't you ever call me that word. And he'll like he's like, hey bro, what I told you. He will almost go blow to blow with you because he feels so strongly about being called that word, not just by white folk, but by all people. Because I think deep down, and maybe he didn't say this, but exactly what you said in the description of the work and like the inspiration around it is that you almost saying that you don't exist. Because if you can't find it anywhere in the world outside of in the context of what it was in terms of racism and systematic oppression of black people, I think that, and which is to erase black people, black history, and black culture, is you're almost saying that will erase me too. And I think that for him and for folk like you, and even for me, that I'm trying to really like erase that word from my vocabulary and being more intentional about that in my mind. And that goes to show you how hard it is to erase that. You know, when you've been saying that word over and over and over and over, and I'm 34, turning 35 now, I gotta really be conscious about that. And I think that that's a powerful piece. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm glad we was able to have that conversation here on Black with No Chaser, because absolutely. I feel like, you know, as being one of the blackest networks out there, I just feel like that's a conversation that we really need to get through. And we have to, at some point, stop trying to make the word okay. I know we said we reclaiming the word, but at some point we gotta let go of that word. Like reclaim it and then let it go. You know, and let it just be what it is. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's a reoccurring conversation that I constantly see on social media back and forth about whether or not we should use that. But the way that you just described it is a perfect example for everybody to frame their correct perspective. I never looked at it in a way of an empty frame. And that makes more than a lot of sense. And one thing I think us as a society definitely do not want to paint a picture that we are nothing. And yeah, that has got to be one of the most powerful pieces of art that I've heard described from the artist itself. That's powerful.
That was dope. That was deep. I ain't gonna lie. Like that was probably one of the better explanations on why we shouldn't use the word.
Absolutely.
Like some people just say, yeah, because it's tied to racism, but it's really tied to nothingness. And it's like if words matter, right? You know, to extend the conversation a little bit on this topic, Kendrick Lamar, right? In his Damn album, talk about this idea of an F nigga, right? And I don't even want to curse like that, but and like how words mean power and what the F word really means, and how if you put that in tandem with with nigga, what that really means is basically saying, he was basically saying what you're saying is like you don't exist, like you're nothing at all, right? And I was just like, damn. And every time like I'm using the word damn in talking about his album, right? Like, damn, but damn, because it's like, damn, this is how we talking to one another. This is how we are relating to one another. I'm supposed to be my brother and my sister, somebody I care about, and we're relating a word of nothingness to one another. And I just think that, man, that is profound. That is profound.
Well, the word nigga has become a commodity. I mean, there's been, billions of dollars, have come about, using the word nigga. I remember when Richard Pryor said he was going to stop using that word, and immediately his audience went down. It went away. I mean, he no longer had the audience that he had, simply because he decided to stop using the word nigga. It's not us that want to hear the word nigga. We understand it. It's the people that have the money people. And I'm going to say the white folks, they're the ones that want us to call each other nigga, because that gives them a power over us, because it's a word that they created and gave us. And then they look at us and they say, look at them niggas just calling each other nigga, nigga this, nigga that, and I mean, they're just happy to see that, that power. And I will not give them that power. I refuse to do that. And I refuse to give them money to demoralize who I am. So, when we talk about identity theft in a whole, this is not just a show to be shown. This is a teaching show. This is my non-violent method of teaching. I want you to think about what you're seeing. You're not just looking at art. You're looking at your history.
So how long was the process of creating identity theft?
Well, I'm still creating now. I started in 2016, and I have more than 50 pieces of art in here, and it's still growing. It's continuing to grow. I've never created art with such energy and exuberance. My wife had to she had to tell me, you got to slow down. She said, you're going to kill yourself. You got to slow down. But it was so important. It's funny because what happened was, when I first started the show, is right when they were right during the end of President Obama's presidency. We just had a mass shooting of young black males. I mean, white cops were just, it was like the Western days. They were just shooting us like we were like pigeons, just shooting us and getting away with it. Just, no guns, no anything we had. We were unarmed most of the time. They just, wielding a knife. You shoot a white guy in the leg, but you kill us. You just shoot us. We don't mean nothing to you. So my wife and I were driving down the street one day, and I saw a group of kids, black young kids, on with picket signs. And I asked my wife, and it was raining. I said, "Hey, what's going on here?" She says, "Oh, that's Black Lives Matter," and that hit me like a ton of bricks. I haven't affiliated myself with Black Lives Matter, but I understand where they come from, and I support them wholeheartedly. What they're doing is incredible. But I said to myself, what am I doing as an artist? What am I going to do? How can I use my art to speak up about what's going on with us? And the next morning, I started getting these visions. The very next morning, I started getting all these visions, and so I created a piece called Unarmed. And it's a black male, and their arms are crossed. And underneath the arms are 2 drops of blood. And the arms have stars and bars on them.
Yeah, stars and bars, yep.
And that represents the Confederate flag, the racist mentality that allows the people that are sent here to protect and serve us, but also gives them the right to kill us with no malice whatsoever.
With impunity.
Yes, absolutely. Because they know they have impunity. They know it. They can just take us out, and the force is going to be with, they're going to say, hey, that's just, you good for you. You killed another nigga, you're going to get brownie points for that. So I'm like, that's probably the first piece. Unarmed was the first piece that I created. And then the face is black and part of the face is cut off, because that's the way you see us. You don't see us as a whole individual. You see just a portion of us. And as long as we are continue to be seen like that, and are not seeing as a whole, then that's how you're going to treat us. So I'm taking that out of the context now, and I'm like, hey, you have to see us as a whole now, and that's what identity theft is about. I'm playing my trump card. I want you guys to see what you've taught us, because everything we've learned here in America is your learning. You've taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
We had to dig deep into ourselves to find out who we are, because you refuse to teach us who we are.
We had to unlearn and reteach.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Education is not about an education. Your true education is finding out who you really are.
That's right. That's right. You know, I was speaking to this thing based out of it's started in New York, but it's like all over the world now, called Creative Mornings. And I was speaking to folks, and then after it was a good panel, and there was some folks in there. One guy was a professor who you know, is educated by way of trade and just his passion for what he does. Super educated on, like, you know, Black issues and Black history, American history, right? You know, one of the things was that he was really into teaching folk, especially our counterparts, about how to show up better, about, you know. And I started thinking, I was like, man, I just don't have the energy to teach other people something that I had to go find for myself. So you want me to do the soul searching for you, right? Because the more you know, and the more you come relatively conscious about the world around you and how you exist in the world, how the world perceives you, it's like, well, I had to go through that by myself. School didn't do that for me. I had to take my time to do what I need to do. And I was just saying, like, I'm not really here to teach you. So to your point about, like, you know, now if you want to get involved with identity theft or the vast versions of identity thefts out there, right, in terms of exhibits and Black thought and Black literature, right, and Black history, you can go and do that. You can find it just like I found it. But I feel like we're doing disservice if we're gonna be out here teaching folk for free, especially without anything coming back to us. I feel like we're doing disservice without having any type of, like, a real bargain for exchange, you know, because unilaterally we were giving the information that America wanted us to know, and then we had to go out and find ourselves. And I think that in terms of humanizing Black people and Black communities and Black culture, we have to force that upon our counterparts to actually do that soul searching on their own, because that's an independent journey. That's a journey, like you said in the beginning, right? You talked about this in the beginning. Like, you can't do soul searching and go, man, I want 10 more people with me. Nah. That's on you, right? When you wake up in the morning, you brush, and you looking back, who's staring back at you? You staring back at you. And the only way you're gonna find yourself and humanize you, and get rid of the inward inside of you, is doing your own soul searching. And
that's
so
right.
that's it, man. That's it.
Well, you know, no, that's profound. You know, I mean, the creative process, it is about soul searching. It's about who you are. You know, I mean, I can't. I mean, of course, I have to make a living as an artist, but this is not about. I don't create for the money. You know, the money, it's just part of the process. It's going to come. It comes. You know, I mean, it just does. You know, and that's what makes it spiritual. Once again, you know, I've been doing this for 40 years. This is my job. I don't have another job. I just create art. It's what I do. You know, it's what I chose to do. It's what I'm doing. But, you know, going back to what you were just saying, I mean, I saw Black with No Chasers. You know, I saw you in that. You know, and that, I mean, it warmed my heart to just see the younger generation, you know, just understanding who they are, what they're about, and giving back. You know, I mean, it's something that we need to do. You know, I mean, it's mandatory. We must do that. I mean, being an artist, I have to say that too, is a very selfish. It's very selfish career, because you're so into yourself. But you get out of the selfishness once you finish creating. You say, what are you going to do with this? Now I can go to the big time galleries and do all that stuff, and, you know, people can tell me how great everything is and all that stuff, stroke my ego, and, you know, I can let it get out of check. My wife helps me keep all that stuff in check. What she does. She tell me, you know, okay, once you come home, you gotta mow the lawn or wash the dishes or vacuum. You know? And I'm like, and it just puts me back into where I'm at. But
Back
you
to
know,
reality.
oh yeah. We need that. We need that in life, you know. But once again, though, I mean, what we do out there, you know, in the world, like the program we're having right now. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but it isn't until we bring something into fruition that makes it real, that we get to a chance to meet a greater audience. So, I mean, you read my catalog. So I said, hey, you know, I was talking to Rue Brooks, you know, and he told me about Black with No Chaser, and he asked me to watch it. And, you know, time went by for a little bit, and I just said, okay. Finally, I sat down and I just watched it, you know, and I was damn near brought tears to my eyes, you know, just seeing the different stories, you know, that we as Black people have to say and we talk about, you know, and how it affects each other. So what I'm doing is right along with, you know, what you're doing, and we all have to combine ourselves, you know, for the greater. We have to. We have to combine ourselves to reach people, to get our voices out there.
Ooh, let me tell you, Dougie Doug. We interviewed Dougie Doug on the Black Lunch Break in our first season, right? And if you're familiar with Dougie Doug, he did Cool Runnings. That's most of it. And he was in Living Color for a little bit, and he was in, I believe, I think it's one of those Spike Lee movies, right? And but Dougie Doug today, he's been getting back more into talking to folk. He's a literature major from NYU. And today he got on there and put out a post talking about self-aggrandizement, right? Which is it's a noun for basically this grandiose of you trying to put yourself out there, right? But one thing I heard in what you were talking about, and you didn't say it, but you said it. And he said it in his last post, which was you want to operate in purpose. But even beyond that, you want to have good purpose on why you're doing what you're doing, why you're saying what you're saying, because we always got a purpose in what we're doing, whether we want to believe it or not. And what I hear from you is somebody that's driven not only by purpose, but good purpose, divine purpose, spiritual purpose. And I feel like that's more important than anything. It's like you're really driven in a way that it's just weird how sometimes like you hit one person and you bring it up here. But I love the fact that, man, like, the folk that
That's
came
how the
there,
ancestors work.
yeah, it's just like speaking, and it's like this constant, like we all got signs. You talked about this before. We all got signs. The signs are out there. It's just about whether or not we want to receive what the universe, what our ancestors have left out there for us. I'm not some, you know, people talk about numerology and spirituality and stuff like that. And whether or not you talked about this already, which is there's no vacuum. Energy is not neither created nor destroyed. So if that's the case, and you're on this, and your body is on this earth, that means that your being, your soul, your spirit, right, has been here before, right? You just operate in a different vessel. If we're all vessels, then that means that if you've been here before and you came back, you got some unfinished business to take care of.
Yeah.
Right.
And just so you know, right, I'm a number 9 right now where I'm at in numerology, and I just learned this, and it really did something to me because it made me claim, and it made me act on more of my purpose and really just snatch it out of the air. It was always in front of me, but I never claimed it. And like, this is my time around to finish what I've been put on this earth to do spiritually. And then once that 10th rolls around, then we start all over again, right? And so you know, that was a real like full circle moment for me. Dougie Doug and Chukes hearing you, and then going back to what I heard back in December on the way back from Charlotte with my lady, who is very instrumental in who I am to this day. And I appreciate her for being open with me and allowing me to gradually move into being more spiritual and being more human. And so anyway, I just appreciate the dialogue is what I'm really saying.
Right on. Yeah. I got you. Well, you know, look, we're you know, I think the one thing we as humans take for granted is we don't understand that we're here for a reason. You know, life is one of the greatest gifts that you could ever be given. And we so much take that for granted. You know, we just think, especially when you're young, you just think you're going to be here. you know. And as I get older, I'm like, no, I mean, now I'm thinking about what I'm going to leave when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm no longer selfish, you know, thinking about what am I going to get out of this earth, you know, because for me, after this is over, there's a whole nother world that's so much more beautiful than I could ever imagine of what's happening here on earth. But I figure while I'm here on earth, I don't want to destroy it. I still want to see that beauty because I just wanted to progress even further once I leave. And once I leave, I want to leave the world with something beautiful. I want them to know that I cherished who I am. I cherish my people. I love my people, all my people, not just the Black people, all my people. I cherish them. I learn from them. I understand them. I love them. They teach me. I teach them. We learn from each other. We share from each other. Why would you want to leave this earth with nothing but tyranny behind you, negativity? I don't understand that. You know, I just don't. I could never understand that. Never, never. Find out what it is, why you're here. Greed is not a reason to be here on this earth.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because you can't take any of that with you when you are
None of it.
leaving. And that definitely does not lead any type of legacy. If it does lead anything, it just leads horrible examples for the generation behind us of how they need to lead their life. Greed is, yes, it's definitely a distraction and a destroyer of a lot of things.
It breeds more greed because once you're gone, the greedier people are going to be after what you left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you teach them right, they won't be greedy. What they'll do is they're like, hey, I'm going to pass on this legacy. I'm going to follow into what this brother or sister left behind, and I'm going to keep on pushing it and make it even more positive.
That's right. That's right. But look, Chukes, man, I really do appreciate you coming on here today with us. We're kind of winding down on the hour, but I really want to get your last thoughts on just how to plug identity theft, where folks can find you, and all that good jazz.
Well, identity theft is it's currently on Amazon. It's Identity Theft Creations from the Social Conscious by Chukes. This is the catalog. This is the condensed version of the catalog. It's also on Barnes and Noble, but you have to type in Identity Theft Creations from a Social Conscious by Chukes, which is the title that is listed under. I also have my book that this is just this is a hardcover of the book. That's the back of it.
Beautiful.
Which is also titled Identity Theft Creations from a Social Conscious. The book will probably, I'm still working with my graphic artist, but the book has the entire collection, everything in it. So it's a lot more material in the book. The catalog was just to send out to the museums and galleries, but the catalog actually has taken off. I had no control over that. It's just taken off. And I get a ton of comments about, what's in the catalog, and people are very touched. But if you really want to get the whole show, it's going to be in the book. Also, the show, I'm working on taking the show internationally. So I just received a phone call from a young lady from London who fell in love with the work and wants to give me a one-man show of identity theft in London. So we're working on that for 2002, 2003. So look for it in London, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have some other people pick it up while it's in London and have it, because I like for this show to be global. I want it to travel around the world. It's that important to me.
It will do that. I'm confident of that. I think this is a piece of work that is more than necessary, but it's also, like you said, spiritual, and it's driven by the correct purpose. So I don't see any reason for it not to become global. It's definitely going to do that. And I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. And for those of you that are, that would like to contact me and talk more about the work, please feel free to email me at chukesart.com. That's all lowercase. And, that'll take you to my website, or you can, just, look up Chukes, Google Chukes. You'll see me on Google, and I'm sure you'll find my information in there somewhere. You know, so
I tell you
I'm
what,
out there.
not that many Chukes rolling around. So I mean, I feel like from somebody who has never met a Chukes before, you're the first. And so if y'all look up Chukes, I'm pretty sure Chukes will be the first person you find, along with identity theft. And y'all make sure y'all go cop that from Amazon or anywhere you can find any bookstore around the country and the globe. And we're looking forward to the shoot in London, and everything that's gonna come from there. But when you do get to London, come on back and we want to talk about how the exhibit is going, and maybe even while you're in London, if you got time, that would be amazing. To kind of have a little one-on-one with you about the exhibit and then how folks are receiving it there in London. That'd be amazing.
Will do, absolutely, will do.
All right then, brother. That's it. It's a wrap.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate
Thank
your
both
time.
of you. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Absolutely, me too. I appreciate you. Yeah.
All right. Take care now.
All right, take care.
Take care. He is dope as fuck.
I told you, I was like, man, I was like, yo, I said, after I read not only the bio, but the more of before you got to the exhibits in the catalog, right? So again, we're talking about this right here, right? Identity theft that's in the catalog. And when you like flipping through, I mean, first of all, the pieces are incredible. As somebody that has done sculptures before, yo, like it's one of those things where like sculpting is low-key spiritual, because the way in which your hands have to work, it ain't easy. And
like
working with
people even complain about what is it, pottery making? People complain about that and how that isn't easy. So dog, imagine sculpting.
Like he even goes into like becoming consciousness and artistry, enlightenment, facing ignorance, your roots, right? Historical perception and misperception. So it's not just about the art, it's about re-educating yourself or educating yourself on like Black culture, right? On the idea of identity theft, on the statute of limitations we talked about, in which don't let the statute of limitations run out on finding out on who you are. I think that was profound.
Yes.
Like, don't let that run out. Don't let the statute of limitations run out before you find out exactly who you are and why you were put on this earth. What's your good purpose?
And to take it just a tad bit further, he isn't only sculpturing art. He told us he was literally sculpturing dreams. He's waking up with these visions and he's like, okay, I gotta go to work. I gotta make this dream a reality, straight from his sculpting. That is so dope and fortunate to be able to know yourself, know your purpose, and then be able to drive your purpose to the destination. Come on.
But that
shit is dope.
That comes with humility. I'm telling you, and not that you don't know it all. Knowing that he said in the beginning, I didn't make this artwork, right? This is a byproduct.
To say it's me is selfish. Oh, that hit me. That was so deep.
Everybody's like, look what I did, and he's like, yeah, I'm just a vessel, right? And I'm gonna get credit for it because these are the hands that made it. But the hands again are just a vessel, and the mind's a vessel for so many people that poured into his life indirectly and directly. And so whether it be spiritual, whether it be man-made or whatnot, like you can tell that he was really in tune with, and he gave a lot of that credit to his spouse, to his partner, and his longtime friend and lover, wife, as he very, very, very so passionately
so
put
highly
it.
of, yes.
You can tell by the smile on his face, he loves that one.
I could feel the love as soon as he started talking about it.
So,
but I think it's really dope that he is able to identify that not only is he a vessel, but the vessel that he is finishing out the purpose of whomever was traveling the path that he so happens to be on too. So he's just like, yo, we are here to finish the job. We're here to identify our purpose. And once we finish identifying our purpose and transition on, there's going to be somebody else behind us that's going to pick up that same journey and continue it. It's never ending. That's why while we are living in our purpose right now, it's important that we understand who we are. It's important that we understand where we come from. It's important that we understand our purpose, because all of it isn't for us. It's for the next person that's going to finish
This
carrying
ain't
out the job.
this ain't
It
number
don't
one.
end.
This ain't number one. We are living in one big relay. Life is one big
Bruh, that's it.
which, and look, when you go, you know, the baton doesn't die with you. That baton is passed, and somebody's gonna get it, right? Somebody's gonna pick it up and they're gonna run with it. And I'm tell you right now, they may not run with it. They may crawl with it, they may walk with it, right? They may run with it, or they may fall with it, but they gonna do something with that baton. And I think that like that's
You just said something there. Oh, you just said something. So that just made me wonder. So what are we doing with our baton?
like
What
this
are
is
we
part.
doing?
This is part of it. Having these conversations, right? This is still an art form, right? This is what we doing. Is make no mistake about it. What we are doing is something that's going to what continue to build on the culture, because culture is life. Like without culture, how will we know who, like where we came from and who we are, right? And having a sense of place and a sense of being, it's all tied into culture. That's why when you see cultural genocide happening, it's because people are trying to erase not only people, but the identity and the spirit of the people. And so like that's why it's so important to continuously tell our stories, because these are artifacts, no matter how small an hour may be in the timeline of life or history, right? These are still moments in which somebody can reach back. There's going to be some young boy, a young girl, right? There's going to be a brother or sister that's going to be like, damn, that's something that was said even in this interview or the interviews we did before this or subsequently after, right? There's going to be somebody that's going to latch onto this and be like, man, I'm thankful for that. And that's going to move them and they're going to find purpose. And I think that to me, if it's one person going to find purpose in doing this, I feel like it is more than worthy and of continuing to do the work that we do at Black with No Chaser. That's what I believe.
Facts. We appreciate you tuning in with us, and we also appreciate you gravitating towards season 3 of the Black Lunch Break. We're happy to be here. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary, and we just getting started, y'all, here at Black with No Chaser. So, bro, I appreciate the wonderful conversations that we always have. Identity theft, make sure you go out and get that. You need to get the catalog. You need to get the book. It's 2 different pieces, but definitely something that you need to add to your collection. Shout out to from Southern California coming through with us again on the Black Lunch Break. And as always, we're about to get out of here, but don't forget to get your full scholarship to Them Hands University. Can't get caught slipping. As always, bro, it's a good one. Hey, you see that? You see that? I like that plug. Hey, as always, we think Black.
Live Black.
Unapologetically. We out.
Really appreciate y'all. This has been one of the most amazing interviews I've ever done. My job as one of the OGs, and my teachers will tell you, my teachers started Duke Ellington, the first class of Duke Ellington in DC. They were revolutionaries. They were street kings and queens. Glenda Dickerson, I got to give homage. Mike Malone, Peggy Cooper Cafridge, Skipper Driscoll, Charles Organs. Well, he's still alive, God bless. Charles Brown, who saved it.
Girl, what are you listening to? It really actually doesn't matter what you listen to. You should be listening to Black with No Chaser Radio, clearly. So
Forgot about that.
never forget.
Right.
Never
right.
forget.
My mistake.
Black with No Chaser Radio.